they're going to be having a meeting, they're going to make it, but they have sent the apology, and we believe we shall have to respect to that. But nevertheless, we shall have to proceed with the program since the basic information is asked with it. Then we shall have also the allowed from the program, from the joint executive director, we shall have the program manager giving a full representation, which will be containing the basic information on climate change and then adaptation and mitigation ways. Then from there we shall have the environmental officer, who will also come to speak about what the government is doing, the challenges they are facing within this environment, the challenges regarding climate change, and what exactly they are doing about climate change. In full, we just want a policy regarding the government, their position. Then we shall also have a break, that is around 10:30 a.m. We shall have a break. A break will include things, more bites and drinks. Then we shall have, later we shall have the documentary. The documentary which will basically enlighten more about what is transpiring across the world and how we should wake up from our sleep regarding the climate change syndrome. Then we shall have also the group session, which includes the discussions within ourselves to see, we brainstorm ourselves regarding the topic and see how can we really do something from our own areas, from our own homes or institutions. That's basically what we shall discuss about and the way forward for this, for our go forward actually and the outcomes of this training and what we're going to implement after the session, after the event. Then we shall have closing remarks from the chairman board. He's also in our midst and he's there in the front, seated there comfortably. Then we shall also have the official closing remarks from. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that opportunity. You excuse me, I'm having some cold, so my voice is not at its best. But I hope you can still hear, and I'm sure that you will hear. So let's have ourselves for prayer. Lord, we submit ourselves to you. We thank you for the gifts of life, the gifts of leadership, the gifts of this gathering. We pray that as we deliberate and share various ideas here, may you be in our midst and guide us on the best. We are sure that as human beings we have limitations of how we can go, but we believe that with your guidance, with your hand, we can do much. We pray that you give us the courage and the ability to follow through the ideas we shall have shared, the resolutions we shall have made, the lessons we shall have learned, and we pray this believing that since you are our creator and the guardian of our environment and the one who influences all seasons, we believe that you are going to give us the best out of this gathering. We pray this in your name.
Amen.
My name is the student of Islamic University in Uganda, and the coordinator of the association.
I'm called Wasili Rogers, working with an organization called the Coalition Against Poverty, abbreviated as NAREGA. Thanks for this wonderful opportunity, because with the organization I work with, we are looking at the climate change, smart interventions, focusing on building the community resiliency to adapt and mitigate climate change region in my very border region. So I'm sorry I may not be with you up to the end, because my colleague, Paul Magila, whom I work with, the manager is in Kampala, so I'm in the community trying to put climate change education and adaptation strategies into practice. We are training women groups in GPP, so we are heading to Mumbo, that is Manafa, and yesterday we are opening 3 assets in Manafa. So we are having 10 million pre-planned projects. We had a team from UCU and not reporting, because as youth we like to talk to, so they came and hope to freeze Uganda demonstrate, so they disappeared. And I think they will change to expect them to search for this opportunity. So we are having 10 million pre-planning projects, planned in 10 million trees in 5 years. So far we are starting in the 3rd year, we started 18 months first. We are planning 3,800,000 something. So we want to collaborate with the youth and then also with the communities, because youth like talking, but they don't want to practice. So with PQP, we are having around 12 youth who are training us, and we having some who are graduates from UC who are here. So I wanted to come and say this, don't look for a college job. Let's come and then collaborate and also promote the president. So where you can have fire even you are even there's no thing to smoke and accept for them. I think I'm going to say how we can collaborate, because we also have the community research where some of the experts with international knowledge.
The Society for Human Rights. I'm also the outgoing chairman of the council, KCCA, that's Kampala. And when I came in, when they introduced to me a colleague, I had a colleague in Mbale Mwero, your former outgoing district chairman, and they told me that you are coming in to replace Mwero. You are the boss here. So he said, why should now our boss sit over there? We should be sitting with our boss here. Because you know this is a youth movement, okay? And of course, as youth leaders, we came up with this initiative because we wanted to help young people. And also, because all these are youth leaders, is a former MP aspirant of Nakawa division. My brother did not go through, but of course as a young person we encouraged him to try. He's a Lord Councillor, male youth councillor, KCCA. And you know Matanda has been the president, has been the president of Uganda National Students Association, and you know him. So before you, in other words, are colleagues, before you are comrades, before you are youth leaders, okay? So we came up with this initiative. Of course, you know Kampala's out of human rights violations. Young people are arrested left and right. And we as leaders certainly realize that there is an information gap. And we also realize that there must be a team that should come to help these young people. Every time we went to the prisons, they would say, give us chikumi, please buy me some salt, buy me this. You meet young people in the police cells, okay? And I said, no, we should come up with something that is sustainable. So we came up with this society. We registered it with the NGO board. We've helped so many young people. The number is uncountable. We've released, because the biggest team, we are many. The biggest team here, they are advocates. Lawyers is a senior counsel. The senior counsel is a counsel, okay? So and so many, the advocates. So we came up to try to help young people. We do a lot of sensitization, legal sensitization about those relevant laws that concern young people. We do public interest education. We come out on issues that are affecting the general public, we take them to court and seek redress. We do policy analysis, we do advocacy as our governance and advocacy officer. We encourage youth participation, youth meaningful participation in governance. We do what we call social entrepreneurship. We train leadership because we think that young people sometimes lack capacity. We train leadership. We train young people to identify themselves, identify their talent. We train them how to monetize their talent. We train them how to become change leaders within their respective communities, because some of these issues may require a leader. And for me, leadership is not about election. Leadership is not about holding an elective office. Leadership is not about being appointed, okay? But leadership is responsibility, is ability to influence others, your ability to convince others, okay? That we have a gap here, there is an issue, there is a challenge. How are we going to be tackling? You mobilize your people, okay? And be able to have a solution and tackle the challenge. Now, you see, human rights is a very comprehensive thing. It also includes access to information, and as you're aware, climate is one of the recent goals that were passed by the UN, one of the major ones, and human rights also entails access to information. Okay, so these partners of ours came in to see that we facilitate young people's access, we facilitate young leaders' dialogues about climatic change. And therefore, we came up with this project. It's a national project. We are Mbale, the first of its kind. We are covering, we are going from here, we are going to Mbarala, we are going to Kisoro, we are going to Moroto, we are going to Arua, we are going to Gulu, we are going to Fort Porto, so many. Madam, you must welcome. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. She's our district environment officer, and we thought it very, very pertinent to bring these leaders on board, because at the end of the day, the dialogue must continue. Okay?
State of environment and climate change. Given that the focus is light on climate change, my presentation is having facts about climate change. But in as far as the state of environment is concerned, it's going to be a two-way. Are we together? Because we've talked about environment for quite a while, I believe everyone has some information, some understanding of what environment is. So, in terms of the state of environment, it's going to be a two-way exercise. I'm happy that there is somewhere where we are going to write, and of course, the legal definition of environment has been given. The physical factors surrounding of human beings, not supposed to be if, but of human beings. Look around yourself. What is next to you? What is next to you? Your neighbor is part of your environment, isn't it? If you are seated on a chair that has a pin, that is part of your environment. If your neighbor has a stenting armpit, that is part of your environment. If this room was hot, without these fans and the light, that is part of your physical environment. So that is the physical component, the physical bit that is surrounding the human being. The other component is the biological component. This is where we have the plants and animals. We all see plants around us. We all see animals around us. That is the biological component. Then the other component is the social component that has the natural and the built factors. When you look at the natural factors, what are these? We are looking at the land, we are looking at the mountains, we are looking at the waters, those physical features that are surrounding, those social factors that are surrounding us, both the natural and the built environment. The built environment is about the roads, the buildings, the rail lines, and all that. For me, when I'm dealing with this word of environment, this just becomes our definition by the law. I want us to put environment into perspective. And because sound is one of those features that are considered part of our environment, I feel I'm polluting the environment. Can you allow me to speak to you without the microphone? Because I believe I'm audible enough. Is that okay?
It's okay.
In your own understanding, without those legal terms, the local way of expressing development, what is it? What is it? At the back, please.
Non-living organism, soil, land, water, air, but living organisms including human being, plants, and others. That is environment.
That's it. Environment is about man. When you go back to creation, God created everything else and finalized with what? Man. And what did he tell man? I'm not here, the devil is talking. Yes, Papa. Yes. God gave the responsibility of managing creation to man, isn't it? So man should use the environment for his benefit, for his survival, for his enjoyment. Not so. Now, you see man is spirit. So even when we are talking about environment, we are putting man at the forefront. Are you seeing that? Plus all those things that are surrounding man. But what are these things in the surroundings? You've been mentioning them. What are these things in the surroundings? Mama Tapona talked of the non-living, the non-plus living things. You remember that statement? And what is included in the non and the living things? She talked of land, atmosphere, what else? Water. Soil, plants, and Now, when you look at the surroundings of man, you'll find that life is found in three major components of the water, transporting the materials in and out of the what? The plant. Isn't it? You see how materials are being exchanged, are moving from one amongst the three what? Components. Isn't it? And these materials are taking place through processes. These processes are many. For example, germination. Which other example processes do we have? Respiration, photosynthesis, rain formation. All those are what? Processes. What does science teach us? It teaches us that processes take place within certain conditions. Do you remember that in our O-level chemistry? That processes take place within certain conditions. For example, if you look at the digestive system, there are different processes that take place in different parts of the digestive system, isn't it? Each process has certain conditions for it to take place. Are we together? If I talk about our people science, for germination to take place, what is required? For germination of a seed to take place, what is required? Yes, please. Sunlight? Water? Air? Yes, please. Congratulations. That's the right answer. And this one is darkness. As long as we give acid, moisture, warmth, and oxygen, acid will germinate. If you remove the moisture, will the seed germinate? If you didn't have oxygen, the seed will not what? Germinate. Are we together? Now, on Earth, we have very many of those processes taking place. And if those processes do not take place because the conditions have changed, then we may not get the basics that the environment is supposed to provide. What am I saying? It is from these processes, from the processes we get the environmental services. From the process we get the environmental services. If germination does not take place, shall we get the crop of maize at the end of the day? If a child's development is hampered somewhere, that kid will not be normal, isn't it? There is a feedback. Are we together? So, basically, these services are into 4 categories. So, the services are supposed to be provisioning. These are the main services we are getting. When you talk of provisioning, the environment is providing. What is the environment providing for us? Those things that we feel that we can touch, what are they? The environment is providing water, food, firewood, etc. This is the environment providing because of the processes. I don't know if I'm getting you lost. The environment is providing. Because of those processes, the environment is providing. The environment also plays a regulatory factor, a regulatory role. I'll give an example. When you look at wetlands, for those who have done sciences, it is said that wetlands are the natural filters of the earth, isn't it? What does it mean? If you released polluted water into a functioning wetland system, this wetland system would be able to purify that water, and as the water gets out, it is much better because the wetland system has removed the pollutants, the toxins. So it is playing a regulatory role. It is playing a purification role. When you look at the processes that are taking place, why should I breathe out oxygen? I mean, why should I breathe out carbon dioxide and then the plant breathes out oxygen? You see how these systems are interconnected. So the environment is playing the role of maintaining those conditions for us to be able to live in a comfort zone. It's regulating. When you look at the rain formation processes, there are certain conditions that have to be in place for us to receive what? Rainfall, isn't it? When you look at how God created nature, the atmospheric gases have a regulating role on the amount of heat that reaches the earth. Are we together? So the environment is playing a regulating role. In terms of supporting, the environment plays a supportive role for life to be in existence. For example, processes such as soil formation. The soil has to be formed before we can grow our crops. And the processes for soil formation are also several. The environment is providing an aesthetic role. Those cultural attachments that we have to the environment. Those things that the environment provides for us that we cannot feel physically, but they are fulfilling our social needs, our cultural demands. Now, for the Bama Saba, how many of us are Bama Saba here? During the circumcision period, specifically went to what? To Mototo. There is that time when they take the boys to a certain point. They call it ethos, isn't it? Yes. For a man who believes in the cultural invalue and the ethos is not there, we really believe that circumcision has taken place. There are some of us who have special trees with special functions. Yeah? You see how protective we are of those trees? And don't we identify with them? Those are. We don't feel them, we don't touch it. But it is satisfying a certain social need, a certain cultural belief. Now, when you talk about climate change, the focus is largely here. Isn't it? I will come to this when I'm talking about climate change. But when we come to the things that are available in our surroundings, what do we observe? Most of us are young here. But for me, when I was growing up, in a village setting, As you are going to fetch water, and you see a ripe banana in someone's garden, you will pick some of it and eat, go and draw your water and take it back home. Is that still available today? What will happen? For us, we had mapera, guava. In the fields as you are going, isn't it? Is that available today? What are we observing? We are observing that many of the things that the environment was providing have reduced in what? Availability. I think I'm talking. Yes. And why have they reduced availability? They are being available. If this is my Mbale district and neighboring districts here, the Sironkos, the Bududas, Manafa, Budaka, blah, blah. Other than the wars we are having with the people of Budaka and the like, can we ever extend our boundaries of Mbale district? Can we? The boundary is fixed, isn't it? Now, within this boundary, we are having money at the center, because I said that money is the core, isn't it? And this is our, what is this? Our surroundings, isn't it? Now, what is happening to money's population? This man is doing this. Is the boundary responding according to it doing that? So each and every other time, we are squeezing the what? The surroundings. We are pressurizing the what? The surroundings. And what is interesting is that this boundary should meet the needs of an increasing population, on assumption that there is no movement outside Mbale, isn't it? And because of this, we are seeing a lot of pressure on the natural resources. And that is why when you talk about the state of environment in Mbale, it is simply what? Deteriorating. Wetland degradation, deforestation, poor health and sanitation, reducing water quantities and qualities, all of them are on the declining scale. But much as they are on the declining scale, they are supposed to meet the needs of an increasing population. What is the outcome? The outcome are those things where the food has, the water has reduced, you know, income has. Do you see us ourselves going into poverty because of the declining environmental resources? Why? Because where we are, our livelihood depends on the natural resources. How many of us can afford to buy water from day 1 to day 365 in Mbale on an average of 500 shillings per day? If you're talking of the whole of Mbale, not looking at the affluent, but the whole of Mbale on average, how many of us would be able to do that? I'm assuming a jerrycan at 100 shillings, we are using 5 what? Jerrycans a day. That is 500 shillings times 365. That is only water which is a necessity. It's not a luxury. You must have water to survive. How many of us can be able to? And in the absence of sufficient water, what are the possible effects? That is why you find that with a declining environment, our productivity is reducing. We put in a lot of effort in terms of manual labor, but the output is continuously what? Declining. That is our state of environment. So when we look at this, what does it mean in terms of regulating? I said I'm going to focus on climate. Man has disorganized the processes. Because of industrialization, what has it done? Assuming this is the earth, we have the sun here. Sun rays come through the atmosphere, reach the what? The earth, passing through a series of what? Gases. When these sun rays reach here, they bounce back into the what? The atmosphere. Now, this layer of gases is supposed to protect the earth, isn't it? And its size was just sufficient to provide that necessary protection. But with our activities as man, of course these rays go back, isn't it? When they reach here, some of them are now what? Reflected back. But with our activities, we have increased this layer of the gases. This layer of gases is what? Increasing. So, we have more heat remaining on the Earth's what? Atmosphere. Within the Earth's what? Atmosphere. Have you ever covered yourself with the 2 blankets? What happens? More warm, isn't it? Add on another blanket. Yeah? So we are basically adding on those gases which are leading to. But what is this? Why is this happening? When you look at the natural systems which would ordinarily absorb these gases, one, we are cutting the trees, we are destroying the environment. These are the ones which would absorb those what? Gases, isn't it? But at the same time, much as we are cutting them, we are again releasing excess of those what? Gases, isn't it? So the systems get overwhelmed and we get a feedback. And the feedback is the increasing temperatures in the atmosphere. That is the climate change. We are losing out on the regulating service. We are overburdening the regulatory function of the environment, of the natural systems. So when that happens, what does that mean for us in marriage? This one I don't need to read my presentation. Maybe I'll simply, climate change is not a new thing. All of us are talking about climate change now, isn't it? But we can either respond by adapting or mitigating. Now, I want to give a caution. Most times people use mitigating climate change different from the actual meaning in climate change. Mitigation in climate change is about reducing those gases. Reducing the emission of those what? Gases is what we call mitigation. Adapting is trying to reduce the negative effects that arise because of climate change. I hope my presentation is. I think I'll make it better. If you're going to make a copy, to show everything. So, basically, when we come to Mbale, what is the state of environment or what of climate change? I think I'll come to that one later on, but I want you to just appreciate what it is like in Mbale. In Mbale, we are seeing that the monthly temperatures have increased. We are also expecting more rainfall for these coming what? Years. But for the drier months, from January, February, December, those ones are going to become much more drier. Some of this information that I just have at what? At my fingertips. Areas which are in the highland areas have received more rainfall than those ones in the low-lying what? Areas. But as more rainfall increases, are we ready for it? As the rainfall reduces, or as we are getting lesser rainfalls in the drier areas, are we ready for it? As the temperatures are increasing, we are increasingly seeing the spread of diseases. In Mbale, specifically areas like Wanale, we used to have high incidences of malaria there. But right now we have what? Malaria in those highland areas. We didn't have tick-borne diseases there. Right now we have tick-borne diseases there because of the increasing temperatures. So, we are also seeing a scenario where the onset of the rains has been extended. Initially from March, we are now receiving rains in what? April. These are manifestations of what? Of climate change. What does that mean for us? It therefore means that we have to adapt. And I'm going to focus on adaptation. Sorry, I need the definition for adaptation. The definition is down, is not coming out clear. But basically, adaptation, climate change are adjustments in the systems, both the human systems and the social systems, to be able to cope with the changing climate in terms of reducing the negative impacts that could arise and also taking advantage of the opportunities that are presented. When I talk of negative impacts, I think it is easy for us to see them, isn't it? Because when it rains heavily, negative impacts could be things like flooding, displacement of people, landslides, and the like. But what are the positives that we could take advantage of? If we know that today we are receiving enough rain, but tomorrow we are going to be in a season of no rain at all, how do we take advantage of this situation? Can we tap the waters, collect them, conserve them to use during the dry spells? It remains a question mark. If the rains have been projected to take a longer period, can we advise our farmers to plant so that we don't waste those rains? I think we all know that last season we wasted the rains. I'm one of them. We're not sure, isn't it? The rains continued. We didn't take advantage of the rains that came in the second season. That is what adapting means. Reducing the potential negative impacts, but also taking advantage of the opportunities that are presented. So, here, impacts have been largely on the negatives, on human health, on agriculture, on environment, and the like. The impacts of climate change, isn't it? But while we are looking at these impacts, what positives can this provide for us? Let me reduce this. I don't know if it becomes better. Change resilience. if we had a functioning environment where its integrity has not been compromised, or where we work towards restoring the integrity of the environment, so that we are able to see the forests and the forest biodiversity recovery, where we are able to see the environment restoration programs taking place and reorganizing ourselves to see that the benefits for the environment are enhanced, where we see that people are able to use the environment for their economic benefit without compromising the ability of the environment to perform its functions. We are going to reduce on the negative impacts of climate change. That is what resilience is talking about. It's talking about having in place systems, having in place those measures that can enable a society reorganize itself in the event of a hazard, in the event of a disaster, is able to cope, to get out of that event, and it's able to move forward. And a functioning environment makes a lot of contribution to resilience to climate change. That is my presentation.
Trees for planting.
Remember people, they cannot be reliable. You know how they operate in Kampala, you know the program. Today will not have electricity, tomorrow will have. Even the other day will not have, yet you pay the bills. So there are some of the things that we can look at as innovative, of also which can solve climate change impacts. Then, let's talk about the wind. The wind. This wind, the wind turbines, I don't know if you know much about it, but if you come to have maybe good knowledge about it, they are created through wind turbines. Wind turbines, it's more scientific, but if you take time to research about it, you can easily understand it. Those things you see as if it's a fan, blowing. Those, they are created under the turbines. Those fan is run by wind. So there is a turbine under there, which the fan rotates and it creates energy. Like those people who used to ride a bicycle, remember that machine, you ride the bicycle as you create energy for the lighting of the bicycle. You know that? People who ride bicycle. So that's how also turbine works. It has that chain that connects the turbines. The turbine is low and creates energy. That energy can also be used for lighting, for even factories. Like US has adapted to that method, and they are actually doing well as a have a clear understanding of how it works. So having heard about the innovative solutions to climate change mitigations, then we are saying some of the questions. I wanted to give you questions in my last presentation, but note down some of these questions. Group A is going to take question number 1. How is your community impacted by climate change? Group A. How is your community impacted by climate change?
Most of you are scholars. You might have come across a man called Franz Fanon, who said that every generation must discover its mission and choose either to fulfill it or We have many challenges as a country, as a world. In fact, as a country, one of them is the scourge of poverty, but also climate change of recent has become one of the biggest challenges that we are facing during our time. A lot of efforts have been made to make interventions to mitigate that challenge. But these efforts have not been including the young people. And this is why I think I should say I am very grateful to Uganda Youth Society for Human Rights for having thought of making a contribution to this problem of climate change. I think they deserve a clap. I would just like to know by show of hands how many of you here come from the mountain Elgon region? By show of hands. Yes, the size of a number. And I would like to invite you after this workshop to join us so that we continue the struggle to make our area comfortable place for humans. You know, mountain ecosystem is one of the most fragile ecosystems. Mountain ecosystems are fragile ecosystems. And it's one of those ecosystems in this country which has been greatly hit by climate change. By the fact that it has suffered landslides, it has suffered floods, droughts in some areas, and unpredictable rain patterns. So it is a fragile ecosystem. So this workshop has been an eye-opener. It has awakened us. And since we are not inventing the wheel, but there have been some efforts already on the ground, I would like to invite those of you who come here to join those efforts. And my advice would be by joining the mountain ecosystem stakeholders forum, because it is a very wide forum and it still has room for those who want to join. I would like to make a summary.
Morning be able to get here. Call upon you to grace us and give us the wisdom so that whatever we shall be discussing will be of a learning point. We ask you this in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Thank you, Carol. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, youth power. Youth power. Youth power. Yeah, you see, young people are very energetic. Once again, my name is Mwande Anthony. I am the outgoing chairman. Hello. I'm the outgoing chairman with council, KCCA. That's formerly Kampala district. That's now KCCA. In our midst, I think before I also would like to introduce my team. We have here Mr. Saddam Hussein, our programs manager. He's an advocate by profession. We have Mr. Adam Kasim, that gentleman with the camera, is the male youth councillor, is a road councillor for youth, KCCA. So the youth leaders here, you have colleagues in your ministry. We have, where is Council Edgar? Chairman, what is the chairman? Chairman. Yeah, is called Edgar. Selko is the chairman. Uganda Youth Society for Human Rights is also an advocate. And then we have Carol Owa. I know he's one of us here in Mbarara, but he's also a board member of the society. She's a board member, she's a very important person there, and recently she was also elected to be a board member of Uganda Youth Network. So congratulations to you, Carol. I want to thank you so much for turning up for today's event. It's going to be a half-day event. We are going to move very, very fast and at lunchtime. Our main role is simply to promote dialogue about climatic change, because we saw that there is a gap where people are not effectively being engaged as far as issues of climatic change are concerned. Therefore, we came up with a program together with our German friends, the German embassy in Uganda, to try to promote this program. So we are promoting this program. You know that several regions of this country, just last Friday we were in Mount Elgon region, that is in Mbale, Budoda, those areas. So today we are in Mbarara, we shall go to Kisoro, we shall go to Fort Portal, we shall go to Moroto, we shall go to Arua, we are set to progress at this country. But so we have this program of promoting this dialogue, and today we are going to be talking about climate change, and we would like to leave you with this dialogue, for this dialogue to continue even as when we have left this place. But that is just part of what Uganda Youth Society does with young people. It is basically a legal organization. It has a legal background. We provide youth access to justice mainly, like you've seen. Most of our team, they are legal counsels, they are advocates, they are lawyers. So we provide legal assistance, especially to young people on issues of human rights. We do training on issues of rights, on issues of the basic law. We train about the Constitution. Those acts that are very relevant, that pertain young people, we think that you need to know. We train you. We provide pro bono. Hope you know pro bono. Free legal services. Okay? So if you find yourself in a situation where your rights have been violated, we are there to defend you free of charge. We can go to court and argue it out with the magistrate or that judge there for your case. Okay? We can give you advice, we provide advice. You have questions, legal questions, you come to us. We answer such questions. Then we also have a program on social entrepreneurship, where we train young people about leadership. We mainly train change makers in the community. That's a very big program. We also have a program on youth livelihoods, because we think that the issue of human rights is a big one. The poverty is one of the main reasons why young people's rights are being violated. So we also try to promote your capacity as far as earning is concerned. So precisely, I don't have much to say. I just want to urge ourselves to really be very, very fast, because we are already behind time. Thank you. Carol?
These things come up during the presentation. I know that we have a representative that will be representing on behalf of the German embassy. so that things to do at like Kyoto Protocol, these people get to know UNFCCC. We need to know this process since we are here and we are the ones that implement on behalf of the district, and we are actually the ones to advocate for this in the district. And the good thing is that we have the youth leaders, if they can push our views to the district, to the municipality. Because you know what, because I see more of our leaders cutting down the trees, and I wonder, do they allow Mbarara or they are loving themselves? Because at the end of the day, we are all affected. Even that person cutting down the tree is affected. If you cut down and replant, that's okay, but you cut and construct, does it make sense? And before, people used to say that people were engaged in farming are doing it because they want to get money, or they want food for home use. But farming is now the essential part of the climate mitigation, because if we don't have farmers, then we cannot achieve this goal. And if we cannot work with farmers, still we cannot achieve this goal. So farmers are very essential and crucial in this. Without wasting time, at this moment, I will invite Saddam to come and present on behalf of the embassy, so that people get to know more clear about what climate change is. If we are the change, and we must end it. So how do we do it? I don't know, do you want to stay seated or someone can push the PowerPoint? So you can do both. Yeah, because
the embassy. So they sent their apology to us all and to you and our society. And please may you accept their apology. Thank you very much. Let's take it, that is been accepted. However, they say that they are with you, both in support. They have brought the program through us to you, and they are actually with the whole country because they have strategic policies that actually supplement on curbing climate change impacts. Leave around that, let me go to my program as the programs manager. I will be discussing what entire climate change is all about. Climate change, I know most of you people, when you hear about climate change, either you think this is a phenomenon of Westerners or Western world, not necessarily us Africans. But here, as our title says, Young African Leaders Talk on Climate Change. And the slogan is that we are the change, climate change must end. And my topic is understanding climate change. Just to give you a small overview of what all we're going to be talking about. You can see the impacts of climate change. You can see how the taxis in Kampala are almost going to drown in the floods. You can see that. You can see young African leaders doing some grassroots implementation on climate change mitigation. You can see some of them having the small banners and convening together to make a clear either point of view or a clear kind of image to show that they are doing something. Then there is also one that says 1.5 stay alive. That is actually documentary, but I brought it there to show you that we need to stay below 1.5 Celsius degrees in terms of temperatures in order for us to keep alive. If we go beyond that, we actually think we cannot live any longer on this planet. Let's go to the base objectives of our program today. Allow me to read. Today we're going to look at these things. We're going to first understand what is all about climate change, of course, the temperatures, how the world is all waking up to the new phenomena. Then we shall, of course, go to the science of how climate change occurs, what includes into climate change, what is all about the green gases. Then we shall talk about, we shall talk about the impact of human development on the environment solutions. Now, let's talk about the facts. But before we go to the facts, we are aware temperatures are rising in the whole world. Not only actually in the whole world, you can see that I told you from California, that's in the US, and up to Uganda, here we in Barara. I don't know if you experienced that. For us in Kampala, I think last month, we reached the point that we could no longer put on a suit at one moment. I'm talking a suit because in most cases, as advocates, always, we usually, in most cases, investment suits. But at one point, you had to go out with suits because it was too much for you to handle. And those are the temperatures which are rising from the normal temperatures we used to experience from the 1960s up to now. Yes, there are predictions. The scientists have come up with predictions and have even warned us on the consequences of us ignoring their predictions and trying to do something about it. So, when we talk about climate change, of course we are not referring to weather. Weather and climate change are two different things altogether. Whereas weather reflects the short-term conditions in the atmosphere, climate change, on the other hand, refers to the average temperatures and precipitation rates over an extended period of time. Temperatures, these are the conditions that you yourself say, I'm now feeling hot and I think the weather is hot. That's what you can say to yourself. If it rains, you can say the weather now is a bit cold because it is raining. You can easily tell. But greenhouse gases are referring to several chemical compounds found in the Earth's atmosphere, which will trap heat that would actually normally be released out in space. When we talk about green gas houses, there are things that if I explain to you, you find yourself actually usually even generate green gas houses. Actually discovered and we are willing to mine it and explore it. We are thinking of the income it's going to generate to our economy, but we forget that there is a serious danger from the oil industry. Serious one. So all those gases, the carbon dioxide that goes into the atmosphere, it is what is known as green gas gases. So how do they reach in the atmosphere? When they reach in the atmosphere, of course, we shall talk about how they compose themselves. When they compose themselves, they can no longer, they reach at the extent where they actually stop the real balance. There is a balance that is supposed to, natural balance of this one. When they are generated, they must go to the atmosphere, the extreme atmosphere, so that they can be dissolved. But when we generate more, they reach at the level and they form themselves into something that kind of a shield. Which that shield, when the sun rises and hits back on the earth, it's supposed to bounce back into the atmosphere. And when it bounces back into atmosphere, it's supposed to go into the atmosphere, the extreme part of atmosphere that heat can be dissolved. That's when you hear about the extreme temperatures of the lakes, and you see either when there are extreme temperatures in the lake, you cannot catch fish. Fish will automatically go down to the deepest of the lake, find that cold atmosphere for themselves, those cool waters, so that they are also not threatened by the heat. Then we start hearing about, because trees at one point they are going to be no more. Let's presume we continue cutting the way we are cutting and we are not planting. Will they be there? No way. So what will happen? Will they stop hitting because there are no trees? No way. Of course, the stomach can even force you to do things you never thought of. So let's adopt those things that we can do. Let's have those engagements, let's plant trees, let's stop using polythene bags, let's work for our life, let's work for our environment to avoid those fossil gases that we generate into our atmosphere. Let's be innovative. Let's find some of the innovative tools that can really help us adapt to the new phenomena. People are coming up with wind energy. The wind energy, the solar, people are buying solar, have come up with a solution of solar. There is the electricity, it's one of the adaptation measures using electricity. It's estimated that 30%, by 2030, solar, the electricity energy is going to be the most reliable solution. Actually, not solar energy, actually wind energy. Because wind is everywhere. Solar, maybe there are parts where they don't even have sunshine. You've heard about some parts of the world where it's always, they are always in a, how should I say it? They don't have sunshine. It's already cold. It's more of ice. You see, which part of the world is that?
Iceland.
Iceland. And there are others. So what do? But they have wind. So they have come to adopt to the challenge by coming up with innovative measures. Then you can volunteer within yourselves. Volunteer, go door to door. Look out to that person whom we think is actually impacting on our climate so higher than you. Maybe it could be having a factory. Maybe it could be cutting trees for charcoal, for selling charcoal. You can tell him, please, you cut one, and let's plant 10. Cut one, plant 10. It's simple mathematics and a simple thing to do. Because a tree, how much does it cost? It's even resourceful. You plant 10, because a tree, when you plant 10, you're even thinking of even cutting more trees. You create more charcoal for your what? For your savings, as you also protect our environment. So, all of that said, then, please, can you imagine the world without such environment? You can see that art of Africa. You see that tree, how it has been designed into Africa. You can see how those young kids are very happy with fish. You cannot see it, but there is fish within their hands. Then there is that banana fiber. They are very happy. They are enjoying the environment, the nature. You can see the wildlife. The wildlife is at stake because of climate change. The wildlife is us. It is like us. Elephants are like us. The chimpanzees. They need conducive environment. They need that greener pasture for food. So presume there is a drought. Will the chimpanzees there? The gorillas, which is our major tourist attractor? No way. They would die because they don't have food. So we imagine we didn't have such environment. How it would be like for our environment and our country. Very disastrous. So, having seen that, and ideally we have appreciated what the climate change is all about. There are people who have come up to speak some of the things, some of the words in order to entice us to awaken us on this new phenomenon. Barack Obama himself said, remember, we are the first generation to feel the impacts of climate change, and we should be the.
Thank you very much. There's just another hand here in front.
Okay, thank you, moderator. My question is about how can you win the negative attitudes of a farmer towards tree planting who has a small land, a small piece of land?
Thank you. Can we have more questions? Because I believe we have questions asked and we also have something to add on what he has presented. So then we can please move to the questions.
Thank you very much for was a small land. Yes, I know when you talk about tree planting, and either me or you or any farmer has a small piece of land, there's no way he can listen to you. First of all, he has a family to look after. He needs crops, he needs actually food. He needs food to put on the table for his family. And he cannot put food as a result of trees. Okay, maybe if we explain it more further, food can still come out of trees. But to him, that person, or that to her, that person, automatically should be thinking, or he will be thinking, that I need to grow crops. Those are food crops for my family, not trees. But look, yes, we're talking about you need crops. What if the crops you grow, you think you're going to harvest the food you want? What if they don't live to be harvested? Will you have done anything? Yes, you are planting crops, yes, planting matoke. But because of the heat that we are getting and has caused those pests, the pests that come out as a result of heat, it affects the banana plantations we have. And the banana can no longer give the matoke you want for the food consumption. So what logic are you having now? Yes, you want to plant crops for your consumption. But as you plant, because you've destroyed all the forests, you've cut down all the trees, now the trees are no more, which trees actually helps us on how the rainfall comes, because you know that evaporation and all the science that takes place out of that evaporation from the trees to the sky, then to the cloud system, then the rain comes down. But if you cut down all the trees and you grow your crops, but because of the
one day workshop with the environmental people, they say in order to excite these people, inform these people to plant trees that can be useful to them. What are those trees, or which are those trees? Fruit trees, these are mangoes, the fene trees, avocado trees. Tell these people to plant these trees around their homesteads. Let these people plant them to become fences, you know, like the demarcations of those pieces of land. And in the long run, those people who took that piece of advice, they have done great. They are the people that are selling mangoes, avocados, and the fenes around this area. If you are to move around and just to get facts on the ground, the empirical evidence on the ground. Second, we initiated those ideas. We visited those areas where people were claiming to be having small pieces of land. We took some trees from NFA we wrote proposals through NFA. We got those trees to those people. We went there ourselves, councillors, together with other leaders and the technical team from the district. We planted those trees. We showed them, of course, the technical people were advising us how to plant those trees, the spaces are bottom. Those people are giving testimonies. They are saying they are getting money from those trees now. Just 5 years down the road, they are already getting money, selling them as wood or other firewood, helping them build their small houses, putting up, to put on the iron sheets, in their kitchen. Those who do not have them because people have issues down there, as they are giving testimonies. So you must make sure you will be an example and you live to give a testimony on what we've been moving around with. That is one way of changing the attitude. Second, you need to keep writing put up many write-ups, many posters. You say as a village, Mom don't talk about my village. Renewable village, we are putting up just a 1 hour talk show, whereby we are going to, these small bits, I'm going to give you a small scenario the children keep telling us. Fire is better than water. Can you give, those things. So you invite those small children in the village. Whatever they move with to tell their children, their fathers and grandfathers, they will take up the thing. You know, attitude change, it's not like something that is going to be a drastic thing or, you know, to take place there and then. It's a gradual formula. And then, you keep calling people like this technical people, this man is not a small man here in Henry. He has many levels in education here. He's an agronomist. Many things he has in his family. Keep using these people. They have a format and a formula of talking to those people. How they can convince us farmers. There is a way they have been convincing us to join the farm. And what they have taught us, we are practicing it down there. And now we are great farmers and must see. So with attitude, there are many ways. And create you know, among yourselves, a person to keep looking for platforms to air out what is needed. What people need to know. Some people just tend to know things. You know, they will say we know, and yet we don't know. Yesterday we were talking with these German people. We were trying to run around, you know.
1 minute?
Yeah. How farming can be so productive, and especially banana. How can it be valuable to a farmer and to the entire country? And one German professor told us, do you know what Masai said? No? Where we are in Germany, when we are talking of a two-legged pest, we think of Ugandans. And he went ahead, she went ahead to explain that. Do you know what it means? We have to make sure that we are useful ourselves and our country. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Destroying them, they are growing trees and planting crops. And all these are part of the green vegetation. I believe they add something to the rainfall formation. So my question is, what kind of strategies are you having as Uganda Youth Society to engage such people like them who think they know and actually they don't? Because my thinking, when they come and cut off these crops, what are they doing? They're actually doing more work. We have been watching the news in Kenya about the giant summit that is ongoing. The Kenyan government has captured ivory and they're going to ban it. It is important. When they ban it, what is going to happen? Where this gas is going to go? Of course, the environment, and they're going to affect definitely the climate. I'll say test. Instead of banning this, and we have seen that on black market, it costs a lot of money. Why don't they now genuinely put ivory on market and sell it? The money they get, they invest it into trying to protect this elephants and whatever. So my question precisely is, what strategies are you having as the Uganda Youth Society to engage these authorities that think they know yet they don't? Thank you.
I think we have a last question.
When it is a rainy season. So I think as Ugandans, and part we are here, if we are having some swamp areas at our places which are not yet covered, as in being constructed in, let us fight for those areas in order to stop the what? The flooding, and I think we shall make a change in the climate change. Thank you very much.
Once again, now mine is like a question, because now I'm confused with flooding. How is flooding related to the climate change? Because I think when we want to stop climate change, we want to have like rains. We want to have rains, and rain causes flooding. So me, I don't see any relationship between flooding and climate change.
What's the question next? Sorry.
Yes, thank you.
In my own observation, I think what is happening is largely because of three factors or two. One, high population. There is a lot of population pressure on the existing structures, most especially something to do with measures that could be catering for the environmental needs. There is totally lack of a clear structure or lack of a physical plan that would be catering for the existing problems. Then two, we have a lot of factories that are not in line with the existing regulations of NEMA. I wish the Parliament would amend a bill that largely restricts the industries and manufacturers. At least if they could spare at least 25% of their profits to the campaign, to this campaign. Thank you.
Where are the government planners or the city planners of Kampala? Because we realize the people of Katanga are being neglected. The woman says her children are not going to school. Why? Why should those channels be not extended in the cities, in the city slums? Why is it that there's too worse in the slums compared to the city center? They showed that building, I think it was the Stanbic building. They showed another slum, I think it was Katanga. It was two. That means either the division council that side and the planning committees that side are not coordinating with the National Environment Management Authority, as well as maybe the Parliament, because those are the legal forums we have in the country. Thank you.
They put the policies in place. When the time comes for implementation, they just leave it with Mr. Msingwire. Up to now, the Vera is still in the matter. And you find the name of his fighting it alone. So if you cannot really differentiate between politics and our land, Uganda is doomed. Because even you are saying in Kampala, bad plan. Who allows the bad plans? But if you stand firm and you say, I would rather lose votes but have my country put in proper, everything can really be in place. Even whatever you hear in other institutions, the hospitals, people can really implement things as long as if you are a leader, you have that big will. You say, let me sacrifice for my country, for my people. I would rather lose a vote, but at least have a good Uganda in the future.
Oh, we have one last gentleman. There are two. One and three.
Okay. Yeah, thanks very much. And I first apologize for moving up and down. I couldn't make it and I couldn't at home. I'm Smithers of Kato. Once an aspiring MP and another. Yes, you don't have to rule that one out. It has to be back. It's part of my CV. Yes. I think once I see such initiatives, as my mom said, I also feel worried. Because we find that the time we spend here in this workshop will be like over 5 hours. But how much time shall we take implementing this that we have talked around here? We don't even take a single minute doing that. So, where are we going? We have forgotten that the policies, they are just the written documents. But when you reach on the implementation, who are the implementers? I want also to challenge us last, it was on Wednesday, this week, when we were under the civil society umbrella, and we were against the bill that was tabled in Parliament of just giving the tax holidays to the members of Parliament. So guess what? So what we did, we just stormed with a petition to the Parliament so that those officers who are just in a sleeping mode, they can also wake up and they think that there is something going wrong in the community. So, meaning that even these NEMA, they are also in a sleeping mode. What do we have to do? And for us, we are suffering and they are getting our taxpayers' money and they are using it for their own purposes. And we are the ones suffering because for him at least, he has an air conditioner in his room. But for you as a young individual, you just sleep in even unroofed, dark building, funny buildings of ours, and you find that you can't even cover yourself at night. So what should we do as Ugandans, as youth? The 83% of Uganda's population, the largest population. One, I think we should come under one umbrella and we storm these offices. We say, what are you doing? Where is your job? Because they produce budgets. If you are to see, we have the municipality budget, we have the district budget, even we have the council budget. But again, what are they doing? At the end of the day, they provide accountabilities. We have done this, but are they real on the ground? Or they just sit in their offices and they make accountabilities? And they meet some people to sign and they go and they take money. So I think we should have an action plan at the end of the day. Thank you.
Uganda Youth Society, you now on board, you telling us the things, but we shall wait for your implementation in field. No, we are here in a workshop, but we shall not hear you again like we have had the problems of NEMA. NEMA is not doing this, the government is not doing this, and the good thing, you're there for advocacy, you're there for the people, but we shall not hear you again. That is the problem we are finding with the most projects that come on board on different activities. And I would wish to ask Madam Brown to clarify more about the maybe and categories.
Right, I think there is a misnomer here. Somebody's calling someone else a different name. Anyway, thank you very much. This man has actually challenged us. We are more of these people who come and do advocacy, and after the implementation of the project, we run away. We never know what transpires later. But I don't think that's the case with the Youth Society for Human Rights. Why? Because we are the first generation to face the impacts of climate change, and we should be the last one to do something about climate change. And also we believe that small actions, big change. You might see that this is a small action we're doing, but mind you, there is a change we're trying to reach. And through that, we are going to be planting trees. Before you leave here, I can guarantee you that each one of you will have to go with what? A tree. And that tree, thank you, that tree, we shall make sure that we have agents to at least report on how far you people are caring. The care you are giving that tree and how the level it has reached. If it is a fruit, have you got any fruit from it? That's the impact we want. We are giving a tree, not that it is that's all we should have for ourselves. But we are trying to tell you that you can as well go back home and plant more trees. It's just a message to tell you can go.
The first panelist is Jeconius Musingwile, who is the NEMA focal person Western Uganda, the District Natural Resource Officer, and the C4Rs Catchment Area Committee. So let's all join, can we all join together to welcome Jeconius Musingwile? Next is John Bosco Bakashaba. John Bosco Bakashaba is the Executive Director, Rural Development Foundation, and he has a Bachelor in Science Agriculture. Can we welcome him? Next is called Henry Mhumza. Henry Mumza is the project officer, Mbara District Farmers Association. Is an agriculture advisor, Mbara District Local Government, NAT. Is the field officer, Mbara District Farmers Association. Is the project manager, Arizona Triple Student Farmers, Kabanyoro. And he was the head prefect for the same school. Yes, we are looking at the previous leadership positions. He finished his course in agriculture. The year is not stipulated. And he also did masters in agriculture, in science agriculture, and he also has a bachelor's in agriculture, all attained from Makerere University School. Then he has done professional courses, that is CCA, PPM, and seed production. If you want to know more about Henry, you can reach him on the numbers which I'll be reading you during the panel. But it's simple, you can even get him on henrymumza@yahoo.com. So let's all join our hands together to welcome Henry Mumza. So we welcome you to the front seat. Bakashaba, please come and take the seat. Is there anyone who wants to be connected to the PowerPoint? Okay. Henry, do you want to go first? No problem. So you come near, because he has to be connected to the PowerPoint, maybe you help him with the IT connection. We are all here because of young African leaders talk on climate change. We are the change. Climate change must begin with us. So we are going to listen from all these three experts on what they think, on what they think like young people can do. And they also give us more highlights on what climate change is and how it's impacting us, because these are people who are based actually in our district, so they understand what it means. It's better to have someone who understands your community than the person who comes from Kampala who doesn't know what Mbara is, because these are people who stay here, they stay with us. So the question we ask will be able to actually create an action plan, because someone was asking for an action plan. I think an action plan now comes from these three gentlemen. So maybe the only problem is that we don't have a woman among the panelists, but next time we pray that we have more women on board. Okay. Bakashaba, now this is your time. Take on. Sorry, not Bakashaba, Henry.
As Henry is preparing to begin, don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Climate Change Uganda, and then follow us on Uganda Youth Society for Human Rights, our Facebook page.
Good afternoon once again. I'm Henry Mumza, the project officer Mbanifa, and I'm here to take you through the theme of the day, which says understanding climatic change, impacts and solutions in a Ugandan perspective. So if we could narrow it to a Mbarara perspective, that also serves. Venue, Madam, how much time?
10 minutes.
Venue, Oxford Hotel, Mbarara, date 30th April 26, presented by Mumza Henry, Project Officer, as seen. Maybe if we can go through what the climate change is all about. We've seen climate change being an inadequate reception of rainfall. It can be in the form of irregular rainfall. It can be in the form of floods, where a lot come in unexpected period of time. We also have more winds than the usual. For example, that will facilitate the evapotranspiration of plants, which will cause the wilting of the plants. Then we also have the seasonal shifts. Most of our farmers, we have been used to the trend of saying maybe the first season or season A begins on this March or Feb 18th or 15th, but there has been a change. So all this combined will affect the value chains, and these are what we call climate change. The world's climate is rapidly changing due to the global warming. We have heard what the global warming is, what has caused the global warming. Do I need to repeat them? Do you still remember them? Oh my goodness. And we'll continue to do so for decades and centuries. So what do I mean? This global warming will continue as long as there is no action that is taken. And who is going to take the action? It's me and you and the farmers. Now this poses major challenges for future agricultural systems to provide food and other bioresources for 10 billion people that will occupy the planet by 2015. Because as you are here in North, but tomorrow you will be married, or tomorrow you will be the head of the family. And that means you have to produce and you will have multiplied. But multiplying indicates there is a need for food. And the need for food will facilitate or accelerate the impact on the climate. So that will pose more challenge to agricultural systems, because there will be a need to intensify in farming. Yet we have seen, or we shall see, that most of the global warming or most of the climate change is as a result of agricultural activities that we carry out. So that poses a challenge. Then climate change is impacting the conditions in which agricultural activities are conducted. Do we all understand what I mean? Because you find in every area, wherever you are, for example, in the eastern region, in the southern region, in the western region, the plants which are there, which are grown, are adapted to that given conditions. So when there is a change, it means they will be affected. So, for example, in the very region of the world, plants, animals, and ecosystems are adapted to the prevailing climate conditions. When these conditions change, it's what I've finished. So they will almost cause extinction. We know what extinction is. Because if you are to bear with me, there are some crops which our grandparents used to plant, which are no longer in existence. For example, we have manyankore. You see? At least ababayo njiro myaka yitu no manyankore. But if you are to look for them, it is not easy. So that is calling extinction, which has been caused by the change in the what? In the climate. So impacts of climate change. In Mbarara, the impact has resulted from the increase in temperature, which has triggered increased demand for water, especially Kashari. You bear with me, there is an increased demand for water. Water not only for production, but also for livestock, for home use. There has been increased evapotranspiration by crops and natural vegetation. For example, when it comes to especially June, July, that's when you know what Kashari is, or even Isinjo, or even Cherubul. So because of that increased temperature, it has increased the loss of water from those plants, from the vegetation, from the grasses and all the plants that are supposed to be living. So it has led to more rapid depletion of soil moisture. For example, if you do mulching, though we encourage mulching, and when there is no mulching, it means there will be a lot of radiations from the sun, which has got access because of the depletion of the ozone layer, which we were talking about before. So that layer would have been would have been preventing the penetration or the coming of the rays directly to the plant. So as a result of the depletion, which has been depleted by the combination of carbon dioxide and that ozone layer and the carbon monoxide, so it has led to the depletion of soil moisture. And that's why you see most farmers are not performing as expected. So there has been a decrease in annual and seasonal rainfall. These days, it delays, the rainfall delays, and when it is to come, it comes in intense, which is unaccommodated. Still, extreme weather events like drought, storms, and floods, those ones are finished. The lower relative humidity, this has caused an increase in the vectors and viruses. Insect vectors are the ones that harbor, or they are the carriers of the most diseases. So because of the lower relative humidity, there has been an increase in pests and diseases. Most of the farmers these days are crying of resistant diseases, which when you spray, still diseases do not die. When you spray, the control is less, besides the other adulterated agro inputs. Then the higher relative humidity has favored, this higher relative humidity is as a result of too much rainfall. So when there is too much rainfall, it will favor the growth of fungi, fungi. It will favor the growth of bacteria, hence still the increase in diseases in the crops and livestock, especially for bacteria. Livestock production has reduced in terms of productivity. Hope we differentiate productivity from production. So you find someone has 2 cows, maybe he's expecting 20 liters per day, but he's getting a jug of milk. A jug is almost like 2 liters. So that is was it? Yes, but still from 20, they expected to 2. That is a great decrease, and this is as a result of change in the climate. There has been still higher mortality. It so happened in Chirhura, where there was drought, you would find cows dying along the way, cows dying. You wake up in the morning, you find the cows dead because of hunger, because of no water for drinking. So that is as a result of what? Climate change. The challenge that is before us as farmers and stakeholders, I mean, who, much as you are not yet directly in farming, but you consume what comes out of farming. So you become the stakeholder. So I'm saying, as the circle or the people that we are here, we have a challenge. Much as the population is increasing, we need to produce more, considering the protection of the environment while minimizing agriculture's contribution to climatic change. Because someone mentioned most of the greenhouse gases that are produced come from agriculture activities. For example, from livestock, from composting this organic manure. During composting, methane and other gases are coming up. So when they are coming up, they go to the atmosphere, combining with depleting the layer that would be supporting that would be preventing us from the radiations. So, and yet we have to get income from the livestock. So that is why I'm saying it is a challenge before us as farmers and stakeholders, because if we do not intensify the farming, it means the school people, it means all the other beneficiaries will also be affected. 14% of the human-generated greenhouse gases come directly from agriculture, like half of all methane, 60% of nitrous oxide emission are generated by agriculture activities, including livestock production, fertilizer and pesticide application. And with these days, it is so challenging that it is almost coming to impossible to harvest or to get yields when you have not done the fertilization, when you have not done the pest control. In the pest control, I mean the pests and diseases. Diseases are also pests in that essence. So what can be done as farmers face more weather extremes and other problems related to climate change? There is a need to turn to more resilient seeds. What do I mean? There is a need for upcoming breeders to breed for seeds that will be able to survive irrespective of the change in the climate. There is a need for variety selection. There are some varieties which perform well in a given climate, in a given environment, and if emphasis is put on such selection, then farmers will be able to peruse through the prevailing circumstances.
You have 0.
Serious? Still we need to, I'm finishing, to turn more resiliencies, that is done, plant breeding, cropping patterns. Then we need better weather forecasting. Our forecasting is still poor. So there is a need that this goes to the government and to the concerned authorities and to the loved or to the friends of agriculture. We need insurance programs because we are dependent on the natural rains which are unreliable, and so there is a need for intervention in terms of insurance, insuring our crops, insuring our livestock. Then there is a need to reduce on the emission of greenhouse gases, for example, those ones. Then there are innovations, for example, biochar promotion and use. Biochar, this is a product that comes from waste. You burn waste in a reduced or non-oxygen presence to produce that compound, which is blood. That compound holds carbon dioxide. It holds, when it was alive, it trapped carbon dioxide. So when it dies, or when you're burning it, you are trying to stop that carbon dioxide from escaping to the atmosphere. So that's why we are burning it under reduced condition, under reduced oxygen condition. Then we need to adopt enhanced water conservation measures. We use marginal and wastewater. Then we also need to follow good agronomic practices. We need to reduce on tillage to lessen water loss. This is what we call conventional and conservational tillage. For the students, you will need to go and differentiate. It may come as a coursework. Using genetics to improve indigenous livestock breeds. Most of our breeds are prone to as they succumb to the climatic change, especially these Frisians, the so-called Jazes and them. So there is a need to bring in our local gene that was adaptive to the former environment and incorporate it in the current one. So early warning systems by the government, sensitization of the stakeholders, strengthening of the various authorities, drainage channels in the urban should be reinstated. You find some, for example, when you reach down there in Kiiza, where Uganda is, so when water comes, it floods along the road, along the forest. So together, we can. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Saddam, I need assistance. Come and please. Thank you very much, Henry. I request that the questions come at the end of all the 3 presentations. Is that okay? Please, people, don't forget to follow us at #EndClimateChangeUganda. For us on my
colleague from Badifa, Farmers Association, isn't it? They are advocating for production of what? Coffee. But their research is revealing that any increase of 2 degrees Celsius, we shall not be communicating as a country of growing coffee. Our coffee production will be lost at USA dollars of 2,268 million annually by a single increase of 2 degrees what? Celsius. Operation Wealth Creation will be talking that we are advocating for coffee growing, but the mitigation of climate change is not within their agenda. Are we together? So that means we shall be seeing plants. In fact, now it has already happened. The trend at which the original coffee used to flower, it is now at an alarming what? State. You see, some of you have relatives in Kiiza. Are we together? Yes. Or some are coming from that area. Over 3 decades. When we talk of 3 decades, the good mathematician, how many years are those? 30 years. Save me. Save me, I'm a gazetted inspector. I don't want to get involved in those. If I retire, that is when I will be talking over the Sharjah and the like. So, over 30 years, the temperature in Kiiza, in Kiiza region has increased by 2 degrees. The problem is, you know it, the continuous degradation of wetland resource, to converting the wetland to farmland. When I'm doing sensitization in that region, I normally tell people that you are praising the Batuma company advocates of marketing milk in Kavali town. Are we together? Do you know the effect they are creating to you as a person? When they are on their account, there is some money. Are we together? That okay. This man cheated my So, colleagues, I think next time we shall organize. So, is that money reflected from a milk of a degraded wetland? Are we together? On someone's account? Does it spread to your personal account? Do you see why I'm lobbying for pressure group? Are we together? That man is taking his children in any university he likes. Do you know what has happened to now to Kiiza region? The area which was prime land for agriculture is no longer producing any agriculture product. Because the land would be modulated by that cool microclimate. Another challenge which has come, Kiiza region used to not have any resistance of genes against malaria. But now, as we talk, every drug of each specification is tested in the Kiiza region because therefore they used not to know how malaria used to look like. But because of increase in temperature, the mosquito multiplication rate has increased, and now they are suffering from malaria cases. And they are not easily treatable because within their body there are no treats that are likely to be a defensive mechanism for the attack of mosquito. So you can see how we are bad broken. A challenge we have related to climate change and environmental management, 75% of all cases admitted at your health center, they are associated with challenges of environmental management issues. What are they suffering from? Diarrhea, typhoid, cholera, as you normally see now for us when we know the peak of cholera in Uganda. You wait for October, September, the date will be shifted to Gaise, Karere, because of environmental management what? Issues. 75% of your parents or you who is going to be admitted is related to poor environmental management interventions. Last, who is the contributor of greenhouse gases? The contributor of greenhouse gases are we human beings in our usual economic activities. Coping mechanisms. What have we done? I've sampled very few. There are so many things. One of the things we have been championing, and if you don't know, the most hated person in this region is the person who is speaking to you.
True.
And even if you see me, you love me to be with you in your parties, as a Gazette inspector, you will trace the face of Musingwile at exactly 6 p.m. and you will never see him. Because I need to exit as early as what? As possible. So we have been restoring fragile ecosystems, wetlands, riverbanks, lake shores, and now the most challenging, and if I achieve it, I will be the happiest person of this country. We are demarcating the riverbank of River Kiiza in Barara municipality, whereby each river Kiiza is among the gazetted rivers which need a 100-meter protection zone. So the exercise of demarcating is ongoing, and then we shall see how to save the river by that percentage. We are also trying to mainstream climate change in development activities. We do communicate, but some people take it, some assume that I'm a Kademba in the court, are we together? But the reality has come to show them, together with me, that climate change is a reality. So, mainstreaming climate change in our development activity is one of the things we have been doing. Increasing vegetation cover, especially through afforestation, reforestation, and promoting agroforestry. But I want to emphasize on this point of tree planting. Time maybe, my good sister, you will focus me on interventions of tree planting and the science behind them. Are we together? People have taken tree planting as a layman's intervention. They don't want to seek technical guidance. So now you find that even the prime land which you used to be for agriculture is being used for tree planting. Some of these people who claim to be rich, they are selfish. He finds people's banana plantation, are we together? Then he gets eucalyptus trees inside, in between people's banana plantation. Why not the trees, according to its science, because that is why was my first degree of bachelor's, the trees must be grown on what we call marginal land. A marginal land is that land where you have selected choices of use, are we together? But you have failed to get the opportunity of that land to be used for agriculture, animal rearing, are we together? Residential establishment, and it is almost less productive. And that is where you should focus your what? Your trees. Because food security is a prime factor for families. Am I communicating? So, but now you find people doing the same. Another thing is we are advocating for proper physical planning. Another thing, we are also promoting sustainable solid waste management chain, because the major contributor of greenhouse gases is the poorly managed solid waste, which is within your home and also within our urban centers. So if we could do that, then we are also promoting what we call a green economy. This is a big topic which I can all not open up here. But green economy is looking at how can you develop, satisfy the economic and social objective, but bringing up on board the environmental management objective. That is what we call green economy. Then we are also subjecting some of these environment proposed movement to EIA and what we call environmental audit. Environmental audits are those we normally carry if you are given a certificate. A certificate is normally have conditions attached. So when we make an environmental audit, we want to know how are you fulfilling the conditions attached to your certificate. So that is what we are also doing. And now, through universities and through industries, we are promoting a tool called greener production, whereby we are not stopping your industrial process.
2 minutes?
Yes, I'm okay. We are saying produce, but make sure that you are producing with aim of sustainable or efficient use of raw materials, energy utilization, and also water utilization. So we are promoting what we call greener production technology. These days we are saying, rich people, can you switch off from greening to greening your compound instead of pavement? Where you hear people these days not sleeping at night, the heat we get during the day is locked in the walls of your perimeter wall. Are we together? Plus your paved compound. Because of those pressure of heat difference, at night the emission of heat is coming from your perimeter wall and the paved compound, and that is what is inconveniencing you to get a decent sleep. So we are saying, can you clean your compound instead of pavement? And can we, as youth and the organizers of this workshop, continue promoting sanitation and hygiene campaign? The only slogan I'm leaving with you is that climate change is a reality and is everyone's responsibility. Let us act now for the future generation survive. I beg to stop here. That is how I have summarized a topic which would have taken almost like 2 hours. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. I feel actually embarrassed to stop his presentation because we're still enjoying and digesting the information he's giving.
Tony, ebigambo ebimu eby'Oluganda tobizza mu Luzungu.
So let's come. Okay, I don't know. Are you able to project that? You can. Yes. Let's get that.
Batumwe muzo mu kishani abali aha mu kishani. Are you going to let me so that also? Because it's not going to. Are you going to let me so that?
That's like I take.
Antinati. Okay, let them push this side. Okay. And then
we need to write at least we can form the line. Yeah, let's make like a choir,
the people from here, you all go this side. They're from here,
we need that banner.
from this side, you people go the other side, there is still space.
I think we should start with English.
Okay. Uganda Youth Society for Human Rights wishes to make a statement regarding the previous policy the government made in regards to banning the live coverage of opposition campaigns or opposition activities and any other debate, live debate touching on the first campaign. Uganda Youth Society for Human Rights condemns in the strongest terms the actions of the government banning the coverage of defiance campaigns. Article 29 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, in concert with international instruments, guarantees every person's freedom of speech and expression, including freedom of media. By such a ban, government does not only suffocate spaces of speech, but also the right of citizens to access information. It is unfortunate that the Deputy Chief Justice, Justice Kavuma, used the temples of justice, which are places of final resort of citizens seeking fairness, to make such a declaration, a draconian order, whereas we do not make judgment over the legality of defiance campaign, as it is a matter before court. We believe that it has nothing to do with the citizens' rights of information and expression. Citizens must be kept abreast of with what is going on. The society upholds the government efforts in ensuring peace and tranquility in Uganda. The state has, however, on several occasions crossed the boundaries and infringed on the basic rights of citizens in the name of maintaining law and order. We also noted the fact that the interim order was issued ex parte, yet there was no urgent cause for the Deputy Chief Justice Kavuma to issue such order, since there was no irreparable damage or mischief it was going to cause to the applicant in the short run. We also find the reliance on Article 43 flimsy, as it is a limitation or exception that is not merely an excuse to limit freedoms and when one chooses. In cognizance of Uganda Constitution, Uganda also acceded to the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights and other international human rights conventions. We must thus hold on to these important aspects of human rights. If there are to be any legitimate limitations upon any of them, even in times of grave crisis, we must think very carefully about where the appropriate boundaries should lie. The state has an obligation, therefore, to protect and ensure that the people of Uganda enjoy freedom of demonstration peacefully, the freedom to speak openly, and freedom to press, among other rights, without undue limitation. We hereby therefore call upon the state to free the media and to desist from any acts and utterances that are aimed at curtailing freedom of press. This we echo again. We hereby therefore call upon the state to free the media and desist from any acts and utterances that are aimed at curtailing freedom of press and expression, as well as association. That's our take, and that's our communique as a society. Thank you very much.
Society for Human Rights, twagala okuvumirira nesekuvumirira yenna ekikola ekya gavumenti okuvaayo nerangirira nti bannamawulire n'abantu ababulijjo tebakkirizibwa kukavaringa oba okukwata ku ntimbe n'okulaga ebikola ebikolebwa aba opposition oba mu kye batuuma defiance campaign. Ffe nga abalwanirizi b'eddembe ly'abantu tulowooza nti ekikolwa kino kiri mu kutuzaayo emabega ng'eggwanga mu nsonga z'eddembe ly'abantu ery'obwebange, era tukoola gavumenti okukyusa mu nkola eno. Kirajjukirwa nti ssemateeka w'eggwanga lino mu kawaayiro aka 29 awa buli muntu eddembe okulaba nti afuna amawulire oba afuna okuyiga, ate n'aba nga akkirizibwa mu buntu bwe nga munnansi okuba nti asobola okweyogerako. Kati ffe tukimanyi nti omusango guli mu kooti kuba gavumenti Attorney General yagenda n'awaaba nga yeebuuza ku kooti oba campaign aba opposition gye bakola eri mu mateeka oba teri mu mateeka. Kati ekyo tuyinza obutakyogerako kuba kiri mu kooti, naye ffe ekitukuddeko ennyo kwe gavumenti okuvaayo negamba nti bannamawulire tebakkirizibwa kulaga bintu bigenda mu maaso. Tulina okumanya nti omuntu ne bwaba nga amenya amateeka, katugambe oba omubbi ng'abba, tosobola kugamba nti olw'okuba omugga yali mu kumenya amateeka munnamawulire takkirizibwa kumulaga nti amenya amateeka. So bali kye bakola oba kiri mu mateeka oba tekiri mu mateeka nga bannansi tulina ebbeetu okumanya ki kye bali mu kukola. So tusinziira ku ssemateeka wa Uganda ne tusinziira ne ku ndagaano endala Uganda zezenga esayininga n'amawanga amalala ag'ebweru okugamba nti gavumenti baani eno okugamba nti bannamawulire tebasobola kulaga opposition bwe bakola eba erina okugijjawo. Singa baba nti ekyokulabirako bakoze defiance campaign ne badefyinga court order ekintu ekitali kyamateeka, abantu era beetaaga okutegeera nti omukulembeze gundi tagoberedde mateeka kooti yamugamba kino naye akoze kino, era awo wonna wabaayo ebyokuyiga. So ffe tetulaba obutabeera mu mateeka bwa campaign ate ekitanaba kusalibwawo kooti bwe bukwataganira n'abantu okuba nti eddembe lyabwe eryokufuna amawulire ne bannamawulire eddembe lyabwe eryokunoonya amawulire lirinnyirwako. So ng'aba Uganda Youth Society for Human Rights tugamba nti gavumenti eveeyo ejjewo baani era ne tukubiriza n'abantu bonna abalangirizi b'eddembe ne bannamawulire bennyini okubeera nti kino tebakikkiriza, kuba bwe tuneeyongera okuba nti tukendeeza eddembe abantu balina okweyogerako tujja kuba eggwanga lyaffe tweyongedde ogenda emabega oba oli awo bye tubadde tufunyemuko oba ebikoleddwawo mu kweyongera okulaba nti eddembe ly'abantu likwatibwa n'obwegendereza byonoonebwa. So Uganda Youth Society for Human Rights tuvaayo okuvumirira ne sekuvumirira yenna ekikola kino ekya gavumenti era tugisaba yeekomeko babe nga ekikola ekyo bakijjawo bunnambiro. Twayanziza
nsonga ezibaawo bazirabika nti waliwo okubagana amatu ba gavumenti nnyo ku nsonga z'ebyokwerinda n'abamawulire. Bwemutunuulira ensonga eno gavumenti egamba nti kino ekikola kutaasa bannayuganda oba oliawo abatamanyi ekigenda mu maaso. Media bagamba nti weekoma okukavalinga ekintu kino bangi bongera okukitegeera ekiyinza okuleetera omuntu buki obuzibu bwatamanyi. So kati bwe ngaabalwanira eddembe ly'obuntu mutunuulidde ango ky'essaawa eno kiriwo oba kigenda kubeerawo n'ebibaddewo.
Tukimanyi nti omuntu oba olina eddembe wabaawo n'obuvunaanyizibwa era tukimanyi nti eddembe lino oluusi libaako ekkomo, naye nga bwe tugambye mu statement yaffe nti tulaba gavumenti ebiseera bingi ng'ekozesa akawaayiro ako ak'ekkomo ku ddembe lino ate okwongera okulinnyirira. Toyinza kugamba nti abantu okumanya kuba abantu okumanya opposition byeri mu kukola kigenda kubateeka mu katyabaga, kuba ffe tulowooza ekyokulabirako campaign eno ebaddewo okuva mwezi ogwokubiri paka leero tuziraba nga basaba ng'abamu bekalakasa nga beesiba gundi, naye abannayuganda tutegeera naffe tetuli nti oba tulinga abaana bato nti balina okututaasa kiki tulina okumanya kyalina kumanya. Ffe tulowooza nti eddembe omuntu lyalina okumanya ekiba kigenda mu maaso, ekkomo eriririko libeera nga kintu kyanjawulo nnyo nga bw'onoogamba nti waliwo threat ey'amaanyi. Ffe mu kulaba okwaffe tewaliiwo threat ey'amaanyi ereetera ogamba nti tukome ku ddembe ly'omuntu okumanya ekigenda mu maaso ne bannamawulire okukavalinga ebintu ebigenda mu maaso. So bw'ombuuza nti ffe tukyapulochinze mwango ki, ffe tukyapulochinze mwango eyo ogamba nti omuntu alina eddembe okumanya ekigenda mu maaso. Tetusazeewo tetwogera oba nti twekubira ludda ogamba nti oba campaign oba ntuufu oba si ntuufu, naye tugamba omuntu munnansi alina eddembe okumanya ki ekigenda mu maaso. Kuba tetulaba abantu abo baba bakutte emmundu baba bakutte amajambiya balina ebikolwa bye bali mu kukola. So ffe tulowooza mu kulaba okwaffe nti tewaliwo threat ey'amaanyi ennyo eyinza okuleetera ogamba nti abantu balina kumanya ekigenda mu maaso. Ndowooza era bw'otunuulira ensonga z'eyo campaign zezize nga zibeera nnyo ku mwanda ku bannamawulire. Kati ebiseera ebisinga buli gavumenti lwevaayo negamba bannamawulire tebakkirizibwa kukola kino, bw'okola bwoti tujja kuggalawo, tujja kujjako license. Kyeyongedde okuba nti kireese ekintu kye tuyita mu luzungu self censorship. Bannamawulire bennyini batandika n'okutya okukola sitole ezimu nga n'okusooka okwebuuza nti wano banankola ki, nti kwegamba nga abalanyirizi b'eddembe tulowooza nti gavumenti yandibadde yegendereza nnyo n'okwekomako okuvaayo n'okunyigiriza eddembe ly'abanamawulire kuba tujja kutuuka ekiseera nga society yaffe tunyigiriziddwa tetulina boogere kuba abanamawulire be boogerera abantu ate omuntu buli lw'omunyigiriza n'omuma space ey'okwogera kitegeeza kati oba oggulawo amakubo agatali matuufu kuba omuntu bw'ateeyogerako kireza ajja kukozesa enkola endala oluusi eziyinza obutaba nnungi.
Mpozi n'ekirala ku kya media ekyo gavumenti bwerubeerera nga buli kaseera evaayo neteekako ekkomo ku media kubanga tekola ebintu ebimu ate naffe abantu ne tusirika ne tuba bakinesirikire nga tetuvaayo kwogera n'ebibiina byanakyewa nga tebivaayo kwogera akaseera kajja tukusanga nga gavumenti kumpi ereese obuwaayiro obulala obutabakkiriza neera okukola nga tujja kutuwa akaseera nga media mu Uganda tesobola kukola ki nga tesobola kukola emirimu gyayo nga bwe girambikirwa mu constitution ya Uganda. Kaaka tuteekana akaseera naffe tuveeyo tugambe gavumenti tulabye abanamawulire nga mubatulugunya tulabye media nga muzigalawo kano ke kaseera tugambe ebimukola si bituufu byemukola wetugenda kulaba mu constitution yaffe ne convention endala ze-international tulaba muzirinyiridde nnyo ate betunasirika mujja kweyongera bweyongezi katulina kivumirira kati gavumenti egambe ekitukola kibi n'abantu bakirabe kibi bakiteekeko ekkomo.
Ku nsonga eyo mmwe nga abalenzi b'eddembe ly'obuntu Uganda wevudde mulabawo ne bwe tugenda n'ebigenda mu maaso essaawa eno bwe kitambula nga kirwa ekiri emyaka nga 5 mu maaso okutyakoma okuliwa nga bannayuganda era abalwanyizi b'eddembe.
Okutya kwaffe kiri of course era olunaku olwo ensi yonna yeewuunya okuwulira nti mu nsi gye bayita Uganda gavumenti evuddeyo nebanga erina ensonga zeekomyeko bannamawulire okuba nti baziraga abantu. So ekisooka kyonoona erinnya lya Uganda, erinnya lyammwe mu nsi bwe lyonooneka ebyobusuubuzi bifa, ebyobulambuzi bifa, abantu babeeraliikira bagamba eno ensi erabika etambulira nnyo ku mmundu. N'abakulembeze baffe abamu ndowooza mutandise okuwulira nti batandise okubakomako okugenda mu mawanga agamu. So ekisooka kyonoona enkolagana yaffe ng'eggwanga n'amawanga amalala. Ekyokubiri nga bwe nagambye mu kusooka nti bwe singa tweyongera okunyigiriza abantu ku kisenge ne baba nga tebalina bwogerero kuba mu psychology tukimanyi nti omuntu buli lwayogera bw'aba alina ensonga oluusi n'ayambibwa akkakkana naye buli lw'omulemesa okwogera atandika okulowooza ku ngeri endala. Mu 2007 twalaba ensonga ezaaliwo e Kenya naye ogenda okunoonyereza ekimu ku kyaleeta abantu okweyisa bwe batyo lwakuba nti banoonya nga tebalina ngeri endala gye bayinza kuwulirwa balaba balina kye bakoze naye nga tekivuddemu nga babadde basuubira ne basalawo okutwalira amateeka mu ngalo ne batandika okwetya. So okutya kwaffe kuli nti singa tweyongera okugenda nga tunyigiriza abantu tubasindika ku kisenge abantu bayinza okumaliriza nga batandise okukozesa engeri ezitali ntuufu. Ffe nga abalanyizi b'eddembe ate naddala abavubuka tulowooza nti si eryo ekkubo eggwanga lyaffe lyandikutte nga kati okwewala okuddamu ebintu ebimu ebyaliwo mu byafaayo byaffe nga bwe tubisoma tulowooza nti twandibadde ssemateeka waffe tumugoberera kubanga yateekebwamu obudde bungi n'obwongo bungi era tusuubira nti mutuufu ne tuba nga tetwonoona ggwanga lyaffe.
Kati bwe gavumenti ne bannamawulire kati gavumenti mu nsonga y'abannamawulire ogiwa magezi ki?
Gavumenti ku nsonga y'abannamawulire amagezi ge nandigiwadde ebenga egezaako nnyo nga bwesobola okugoberera ssemateeka kuba ssemateeka waffe mulambulukufu bulungi nga bwe tugambye mu kawaayiro 29 mu buwaayiro obulala nga 24 namunnya obwo buwaayiro bwonna bulaga waliwo ne act ya parliament statute access to information act ewa abantu eddembe okuba nti bategeera ekigenda mu maaso. So gavumenti amagezi genjiwa kugoberera mateeka. Ekyokubiri bannamawulire amagezi gembawa kwe kuba nti ebintu bino tebabitwala nga byakusaaga bwabaawo ensonga enyigirizibwa banyigiriza etali mu mateeka baveeyo beeyogereko n'abantu abalala abalanyirizi b'eddembe ab'ebibiina eby'obunakyewa n'abantu sekinnoomu baveeyo okuba nti tebakkiriza okuba nti tweyongera okuba nti twongera okunyigiriza abantu kuba ekijja okuvaamu ffenna kijja kuba
olwaleero eddoboozi ly'abavubuka livuddeyo twaffe tulwanira abavubuka ekikwata ku ddembe ly'omuntu ate tusuubira gavumenti egenda tuwuliriza nnyo engeri gye tuli bavubuka ate ffe tukola ki ffe tulina pasentage ennene mu ggwanga naye nga si ekyo eddembe ly'obuntu ekikwata ku ddembe ly'obuntu buli omu wenna waaba mu nsi liba limukwatako eitha oli mu Russia eitha oli mu America kasaba linyira eddembe ly'omuntu leba nga li Sudan oba America ne wano mu Uganda kiba kikukwatako ate obuvunaanyizibwa okuvaayo n'okivumirira mwebala nnyo mwebalira ddala
ekikola ekya gavumenti okuvaayo neteeka ekkomo ku bannamawulire okuba nti batuusa ku bannayuganda amawulire agakwata defiance campaign. Tukimanyi nti ensonga ya defiance campaign oba eri mu mateeka oba teri mu mateeka ensonga eri mu kooti so eyo tuyinza obutajoogerako naye ffe kyetukkiririzaamu era kyetumanyi ekyokuba nti defiance campaign oba eri mu mateeka oba teri mu mateeka tekirina bekikwataganira n'eddembe ly'abannayuganda okuba nti bafuna amawulire agakwata ku bigenda mu maaso mu ggwanga lyabwe. Akawaayiro aka 29 mu ssemateeka w'eggwanga lino kakkiriza oba kawa omuntu munnansi n'atali ebbeetu okuba nti amanya ebiba bigenda mu maaso afuna amawulire n'eddembe okuba nti yeeyogerako oba ayogera ebyo byaba amanyi. Ekiseera gye tunako mu kugenda mu maaso nga twongera